Hello. Thank you for visiting me on the interwebs, Chad Warren. Here you see behind my image my Twitter page. Learn how to market alternative media at how_alternative. YouTube channel, the Adventurer channel. Certainly adventurous to be cell phone videoing myself as I drive through this horrible rain that is the welcoming of spring. But that's the kind of things that smart risk takers have to do, isn't it? I want to focus today on exploration of the New World Order, the American Revolution. If you'll look at the Twitter profile behind me, you'll see a map. I can't remember, is it one of the big-time cartographers of that era crafted this map, and that person was John Dees, who was the origin of the 007 spy character. He brought the value of intelligence as alchemy transitioned into science with rational material goals of exploiting the world. And I just thought it was interesting that I to cell phone towers with a phone that's provided to me, and it has an application which I think you can get a public version of this, but my job is to check for the cell phone signal from these towers, and when they tell me where to go, they give me latitude and longitude. So it's just very exciting. The reality that some really far out individual deep thinkers applied back in the day. Let's take a look on the World Wide Web. Here we've got the blog of Tracy Twyman at tracytwyman.com. This is the Plus Ultra group, sort of ad hoc intelligence gathering operation. You know, the whole point of my speaking to you through the internet, through social media, is that I think my job is to act as some kind of a leader in helping us all learn how to apply this information. You know, a lot like the movie or story Dune. By fantasy future of Frank Herbert revolves around spice, so that it's necessary for interstellar travel. It provides the Bene Gesserit sisterhood with psychic abilities. I think that's correct. But you know, we who use the internet certainly experience the amazing power of this techno oracle. The ability to look up the answer to questions. And of course there's all kinds of good and bad. But I really want to encourage the conspiracy theory, alternative media, independent researcher community to go well beyond being critical of problems and understand the new establishment that we want to take the place of the cryptocracy, the rule by the oligarchs, right? My rebelling against government is because the only government I've ever known is one of lies. But somewhere, at some point in time in the past, there must have been a system that was worth giving one's allegiance to. And we're going to have to create cooperative, unified efforts to be what Christianity has been taken over and corrupted, to be what America is supposed to be, this place that is the most free place all transition into this virtual reality, this virtual insanity, as Jamiroquai said, so that America, it is shifting back to its ideal sense, that it's not about the land, it's about the idea that people could govern themselves, you see. So if we don't learn how to get along, all this radical political rhetoric that dominates and gets us high in line will be our destruction. So we need to pay respect to how does orthodoxy win? What brought us to this point, right? So this is a blog about James Allen Egan, who is a passionate historian, and he runs a museum in Rhode Island. That has a corny story about it being a windmill, which is ridiculous. And instead, it's actually a camera obscura, so that it tracks the movement of the sun, I believe, in the through the year. You know, that this occult knowledge, this hidden knowledge, rich, and it's what made them value this intersection between the material world and the spiritual world. So we are obviously in a bold adventure today, and the quicker that we pay respect to our connection to this adventure of the past, we're definitely a part of that by me holding this cell phone in my hand. You know, we're all involved in this radical quest just as much as any Knights Templar of the past who went to the crusades. Our crusades are into this virtual reality, this augmented reality, where ideas merge with the flesh, which is magic. So I would encourage you to check out this blog. There's some great imagery that Tracy has put as the background of her research into James Allen Egan's research, and he has written many books, one of them which is Elizabethan, I believe that's the title. I think it's $30, I think. And then we'll go to S.B. Alger and Jim Maiden who run this YouTube channel, I think he purchased that book. And this, if I can pause it. Okay, so the show, the hangout online that I frequent is the prescription only picture show. So it is prescription only. This is for people that are serious about what we're doing here. We're not just being infotained. We realize that we are boldly creating the education creation self-publishing movement, right? So that hopefully my son, who's 9, won't have a child that goes to public school. Not that I don't want him to interact with other children, but we should be responsible as the folk for our education. That's where things have gone off track. So somehow, in this merger communism, that is the experience that we have, that these bankers and churches and all this are involved in, we're going to have to create a healthy folk protocol, right? We're going to have to start creating our own agreements to break through the chaos of polarization. That's what the realization 100 years ago, that people were losing their humanity, their skill set, as we saw cities take over. So if you can handle being in the workshop, right, in this neo-feudal guild system, right, where I don't want to join the Freemasons, even though obviously this is very similar to what we were doing. I want a public intelligence agency, right? It no longer seems appropriate to hide. I understand the value of secret societies, certainly with the threats of censorship, and if you speak out against the behavior of the American/Israeli government, you're labeled an anti-Semite, which I think is funny because the Jewish people were rebels that refused to integrate. Yet now we have this certain brand of the Jewish identity of Zionism, Borg system, right? Of a fake global community. So the best thing I can suggest is that we need to learn how to cooperate. There's too much information. We're all going to get lost in a diaspora if we're just obsessed with our own research queries. Really, it should be about if researchers and entrepreneurs can do is clean up the mess that is the internet, right? You know, people that are more normal don't want to be bothered by all of this controversy. And as somebody who does appreciate to debate and develop the discipline to challenge the status quo, I'm now old enough to see that, you know, that's a problem too if everybody's arguing all the time. So I think the best things that we could do is develop a protocol for how to debate, right? Because if you have this world where people just want to hold on to their point of view. Like, say you're talking about something controversial like the vaccine discussion, right? Well, how is it going to benefit any of us if our talk can't turn into action? How is it going to benefit us if everybody is just seeing their point of view and we lose the ability to agree on anything? Because that is a problem that does happen with political point of view, is that you dissolve any kind of order at all, right? So we don't want to be fake. We don't want to let powerful people dominate us with lies and deception and terrorism. But paradoxically, the best thing we could do is learn how to show that individual folk can settle disputes, because that is the role of the scam government, is to shake us up like an ant farm and then come in and act like they're helping us get along. So really, it's an argument about government that we're having. You know, if you have an anarchic point of view, you have to remember that you still want there to be some rule, more based on the individual perspective. Okay? And so what are we going to do together? What world are we going to create, right? Now that we go beyond complaining about being dominated by the powerful, what do we do when we realize that we are responsible for every thing we consume? What is the effect on us? What world are we imagining and working on together? How can we have something to show for our interest in self-led learning? Right? As much as I'm interested to hear about a possible mini ice age, for example, how is any of that translating into us living more sustainably connected to nature? You see what I'm saying? That's the pressure that I want to apply to us as alternative media consumers and creators. How are our ideas transferring into real world experiences? And how do we develop discipline to temper our open-mindedness, our open-heartedness? Thank you for your time. Oh, hey, I want to show you. John Dees' fantastic map of 1582. Look at these cool pictures. Even though we're in this technological transhuman world, that it was spawned by so much of what was going on back then. We are the children of the British Empire, whether we like it or not, That's what Star Wars is, right? We are both the rebel and the empire. Now here's the map. So, just like I had to decode the latitude and longitude to figure out my destination for work today, we see this visual symbolic language explore much more about that within Tracy's blog and the prescription only picture show. So share with me what is worth focusing on that we can apply in the real world. How do we build local community? To deal with our addiction to technology and the possibility that we could be kicked off of these virtual worlds at any time. If the internet is designed to clear attack, what do we have as a people that can survive the attack on culture? Why shouldn't I look at the Masons as part of the problem? They seem to be a group that was supposed to be virtuous, but they seem to be taken over so that they're the ones that control this false history. Who are the Tartars? Why does history try to erase them from existence, like George Orwell's 1984? Thank you very much.